year, we meet all together to share what lies in our hearts as professional psychotherapists and organizers of biosynthesis on this video about the community of biosynthesis and what value brings into the world. First, we will have Silvia Boadella, the co-founder of Biosynthesis and the director of the International Institute for Biosynthesis.
Thank you, Paz. So, the essence of biosynthesis for me is to create a platform for change so that people in difficult situations can get the tools to open up for the flow in their lives, for more freedom, for creativity, for self-esteem and integrity. Thank you.
Liane Singh, the president of the Overseas Association for Biosynthesis.
It's a pleasure to speak here in this moment, and I want to say this. When David Boadella came here in São Paulo, we did a very big workshop. We put the folders, the advertisement, that biosynth was the psychotherapy of the future. And I still believe that. Our present time asks us to be teachers with a huge human heart. The human heart is very complex, but this demands the adventure and the capacity to die and to be reborn. Edgar Morin. David Boadella also said to us the same. Ask us to work with an open heart. Biosynthesis is the integration of life at birth and through our development. It means we have a bond between three essential aspects of the human existence. When we work with body, breathing, movement, the incarnation of the psyche is there. And that's the flow of the open system that biosynthesis is connected, open system, which means the healing process of the integration in biosynthesis. Big task of David Boadella. And what is the integration of biosynthesis? The cosmic ocean together with the organic ocean, pulsation together. Thank you.
Now the president of the European Association of Biosynthesis, Lily.
Centering is a fundamental concept in biosynthesis, and it's a process that brings us in touch with ourselves and our inner life. This gives us an inner ground that empowers us and makes a border to the outside world, where in cases like now, when chaos and madness prevail, we have a ground on which we can stand and find a personal meaning and not get being pulled by what is happening outside or being manipulated by forces of the outside world. And this concept of centering, for me, is very important for the times and the problems we are dealing with now. So I'm grateful to Biosynthesis for offering us this possibility.
Eunice, the director of Bahia.
I'd like to share with you some thoughts about the moment we are living in. It's a moment of many transitions and a lot of movement outside and inside ourselves. So we have a lot of opportunities emerging from this particular moment in our lives. There is a lot of hope that comes out of the confusion. That's why biosynthesis teaches us because biosynthesis works with the rich concept of polarities. And now, after pandemic, the long-lasting effects of pandemic has brought a lot of fear, of isolation, and also affects our physical and emotional health. So the concept, this is a lot of contraction in our lives. And the concept of polarities that David Bodella gave to us as a very rich gift that in fact it was already taught in many other schools of thought since the ancient Greek. No? So what it tells us is that after contraction comes expansion. So let's hope for the expansion that's awaiting for us. No? And biosynthesis helps us to build a bridge between the density we are living in these days. There's a lot of density of words with the material values. But biosynthesis brings a light in that and says that we can bridge between this density and our subtle levels, where we can find fluidity, movement, grace, light, and love. So that's a lot of hope inside ourselves, in our potential. So thank you very much, David Bodella and Biosynthesis, for being in my life, in our lives, and thank you. Also.
Thank you, Nisi. Now, Gerlinda from Berlin.
Thank you. I was thinking about the war, and we live in this time of war, and this is a new situation for us. The invasion of a country was shocking to the bones for all of us, and I think it threatens Europe, it threatens the world, and the economical situation brings us also to an existential level. And we are constantly now filled with propaganda in our eyes and our ears. I think in time of war, outside subjective reality and our political assessment became vague. Collective trauma awakes. A friend of mine, she, when the cruelty of the war came through, and all wars are cruel, she said, my heart starts bleeding again. And this touched me very deep in my heart. To have a space where our essence is welcome and protected is most precious in this time. There we can find balance within ourselves and not to go into the trap of simplification. In the outer complexity, we have little influence, and it leaves us often helpless. But to go back into our body with our awareness, to come in contact with our life force, to feel the strength in our body, and to find possible solutions, new resources, that makes us more resilient to sustain the outer world. This space biosynthesis, a body-oriented psychotherapy, can give us. Thank you.
And then Vika from Russia, from the director.
Hello, everybody. I just would like to mention that biosynthesis is not just an approach of body psychotherapy. It's much wider and deeper. And David created one of very important concept, which is a concept of biospirituality. We deal with body, energy, feelings, relationships, images, language. None of these fields can exist separately. There is an interconnection and interdependence. in these life-filled models, there is an inner center or core or spiritual dimension, or as we call it, essence. So biosynthesis is a spiritual body psychotherapy. Grounding is our contact to the body, to the earth, to sexuality, to nature, to human relationships, our rootedness in our history and culture, our connections to the other. Spirituality is our contact to the heart, deep source, deeper than ourselves. These two aspects of ourselves, our grounding and our spirituality, can be deeply woven together or divided from each other and set against each other. Grounding without spirituality becomes pseudo-grounding. Spirituality without grounding becomes pseudo-spirituality, flight from the real to ideal, esoteric fantasy trip, and so on. True spirituality is the grounding of our essential qualities in daily life. True grounding is a contact not only with outer ground of our home, work, partnership, country, planet, but to the inner ground of our being, our meanings and values. We think it's very important contribution from biosynthesis, especially in this difficult time. Thank you.
Now, Vasilis from Cyprus.
Thank you, Baza. Thanks to David, biosynthesis is not an ordinary method of psychotherapy. It is also a spiritual process which heals the person as a whole, body and spirit. As our dear Lily reminds us, as in the foreword of the book Healing Trauma in the Eternal Present of the Now, Elder Porphyrios used to say that matter inside the womb becomes spirit, and spirit inside the womb becomes matter. I believe that biosynthesis is a womb in which clients enter with all their traumas and deficiencies, and during therapy they go through this process as individuals and meet their whole spiritual foundation. Every individual sees and understands that, although they are a single person enclosed within their skin, at the same time they encompass the whole of humanity. In our clinical practice, we see the individual in this dual dimension, as a separate material entity, but also as a spiritual entity. All humans are light, coming from the one light of our Creator. In our clinical practice, we also see that the center of the human being is the spiritual heart, which is vertically connected to our Father and is brought to life by the energy of the love of our Father and Creator, and horizontally connected with all other hearts of humanity. When we kill other people, we kill our co-humans. We kill the other, through which we become human. Therefore, when we kill, we actually mutilate our own selves. This creative energy of love is our power weapon with which we can heal not only our own personal traumas, but also the ancestral trauma of humanity as a whole. During these difficult times for our world, the energy of love from the heart is a super weapon for compassion, solidarity, and of course, peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vasilis. And now Keteban from Georgia.
Psychotherapy is a desire and opportunity for change transformation. In Georgia, body-oriented psychotherapy was viewed with skepticism. However, I was sure that biosynthesis would arouse the interest of Georgians, since Georgians are now for their love of communication. So, as David Guadella would say, a gram of contact equals all psychotherapy. Today, I am glad and proud that I am one of the initiators of the development of biosynthesis in Georgia. When they hear the word psychotherapist, they look at you as omnipotent. This imposes a great responsibility on us. Biosynthesis allows synthesizing body and soul in the process of psychotherapeutic work. And this is so natural that it neutralizes the myth of omnipotence and gives the client a natural opportunity for change. Thank you.
Thank you, Keteban. Claudia from Portugal.
A therapeutic process in the time we live in often represents the only moment to stop and take care of ourselves. Biosynthesis brings the possibility of rescuing the internal resources, allowing balance and self-regulation. It gives us back to the patient and to the therapist the sense of security and hope. Thank you.
I would like to speak about holding as one of the fundamentals of biosynthesis. It is a pleasure and a gift, holding together in a project where we unite together in a community, where we work in healing the wounds of the greatest number of people in the world. Holding together in a community based on the common language we all share, the language that we best understand and where we feel most secure. That is the language that emerges from the body, that gives us the real possibility of incarnation of life as a part of this earth. This year we miss deeply our teacher and creator of biosynthesis, David Guadella, but we put all of us in our heart the belief and the sentence he used to share, that something always goes further. Thank you.
I would like to thank you very much, Silvia Guadella, for being all these years on the side of David, giving all the support and love and helping, creating biosynthesis with all your creativity and your sensibility to the subtle levels. Thank you very much, Silvia. You have been a very precious jewel in the biosynthesis community, and we are very thankful to you. Thank you.
Yes, I would like to add also that I appreciate very much Silvia your sweetness, and your holding in the community after David passed away.
Thank you very much, Paz. Mm-hmm.
So, can I say something for Sylvia too? Because Eunice start and pass, and I want to say, Sylvia, that when I look at you here, and I see that you hold everybody, and I remember Spain when you spoke about incarnation of hope. Oh, when I see you here, hold all of us together, I have hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It is coming from my heart, and it's really, it's a resource for us all, what we have, what we share in biosynthesis. So it's our togetherness is a resource for me. So it's wonderful to be together. Thank you very much. I just want to say as well, when I look at you, Liani, just a few years older than me, what you have achieved in biosynthesis, it is just fantastic, you know. All these institutes you have created, all the skills you have, the deep understanding, it's so precious that you are with us. Thank you very, very much, too, in the name of David, of course.
Yeah, thank you. I love biosynthesis, you know.
Anyone else who wants to speak? We have plenty of time. Or shall we come? Because after this is scheduled the first. So today, the first senior trainer presentation.
With Wanda and Tiago. I just want to say that Tiago has a very special moment. His wife is almost given delivery for his second baby, and he's here. Thank you, Tiago. Thank you. Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
He's brave.
Obrigado, Liane.
Very brave.